What is good, guys? It's your man, your boy, Ian Walker, and I am back. I know it's been a minute since I've done a video in quite a while. Last time I looked up my YouTube, it was about 2 months. Oof, oof. Got a lot to talk about though. In that time, a lot has happened, a lot has gone down. Um, what I'm doing on this one, this is an episode of Hot Takes, where I go through and do a review on some comic books, independent comic books, and this time I am coming back to an original uh, an original review that I did before of Isom 1. As you guys can see, I'm wearing the t-shirt right now, Catch Street. And so I just got, well, not just got, I got it a while ago. It took me a while, but we got, you see, do this for glare out the way. Isom number 2. You guys see that cover here, man? That is glorious. That is beautiful. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today. I'm going to do a full review on Isom number 2, and yeah, we're going to get my hot take on it, and hopefully that will inspire you guys to go ahead and make your own decisions. But more than anything, hopefully encourage you to go ahead and grab the book for yourself as well to check that out. Okay. So that's what we're going to do today. So let's get started. All right, guys. So my name is Ian Walker. Once again, I'm a freelance artist, full-time artist, comic book artist. I am the creator of Obsidian Studios. I am the creator of my book, Pantheon, which is a book that I currently put out just recently, earlier this month in June. I put it in a protected case because got to protect the goods, man. Goods. Anyway, this is number 1 of Pantheon, which is my original independent book that I came out with. Came out in June of this year. Right now, issue 2 has just been completed. So pretty soon, in the next couple of weeks, the pre-sales on my website for that will be available, along with the Kickstarter campaign that I want to do for that as well. So if you guys are interested in that, the link to my website will be below here in the comments, and you guys can pick that up there, along with buying Pantheon and pre-ordering Pantheon number 2. You can also go there and purchase some of my original artworks, stickers, other publications that I got, just all kinds of stuff that's available to you. So if you're interested in my work and you'd like to see what else I do and possibly support that, please be sure to head over to my website, www.theartofianwalker.com. And I appreciate any support that you guys give towards my artistic endeavors. But today, good people, today we are going to be doing yet another review of Isom. Now, Isom is a character from the Rippaverse. I did a video some time back, a couple months back. I want to say it's about 3-4 months ago, where I got Isom number 1. I had some words for that that I was looking, or had some words on there. Had some opinions that I shared regarding Isom number 1. There were some positives and there were some negatives. But I'm going to just say, when it comes to this, Isom number 2, I'm very glad that I was patient and I stuck around for this. Let me tell you guys something. Isom number 2 was such a fun read. And with this specific issue, this graphic novel issue, there is a very clear direction where the Rippaverse is going. And the way Eric July, who is the creator of Isom and all the other characters here, have laid everything out through Isom number 2 is very smart. So just to get into it, I'm not going to spoil anything for the book. I do know that the campaign is still going right now at this moment. Forgive me a quick second. I want to see where it is. He's already fulfilling orders, but the campaign still is going right now. So last campaign he did He reached over $3 million. Now, this campaign is going to be over at the end of this month in August. And so far, he's at 2.2 million with this one. So it's not as much as the last campaign, but it's still quite a significant amount of money that he's earned towards the campaign. And so I know for sure that when people get a hold of this new issue, they're going to be really happy about what they are getting uh, with this specific book here. I'm recording the YouTube video. Okay. So the second part of this book is called, I guess this is a story arc called Ill-Advised. So this is part two of that story arc. One of the things immediately that I like and appreciated, just like from the last issue, was the cover. The cover art here is incredible. I want to say there were two different covers. I have the book. I got two different versions because I wanted to take advantage of the extra book. And then for participating in purchasing the book, I also got the Isom shirt. That's why I'm repping that right here, right now. Because this shirt was just fire. I was like, that. Need that. And then it came with a snapback cap Isom, which is fire. You probably saw me in the video description thing with the snapback on. This thing is sick. Very high quality, as always. That goes without saying. The way the book is put together, he continues with the quality and everything. So I'm very happy with that. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about the the quality of the book. I mean, it's all already there. I mean, and he's maintained that. If you want to hear me talk about quality of the book, the first video talks about that. But what I wanted to talk about was the thing that I was most interested in, and that was the story and the characters. Now, in this book, we're introduced to three new characters, and the story starts out where he, uh, was dealing with an old childhood friend who became a crime boss pretty much in his city. And there are a variety of other characters here that we see. Just a little quick deal here. We dealt with a big, gigantic monster looking dude named Chadron. And I like the way he introduces him in there. So that's really neat. Um, and so we find out in this specific story why Isom stopped being Isom. In the first issue, we didn't know what that answer was. And to be honest, I was a little disappointed as to why we didn't know what that was. I felt like, being how many issues it was or how thick the book was, I felt that that was a question that probably should have been answered in the first issue. I still believe that, because now, now that we know the answer, it's great to have that answer, that question satisfied, and have the answer to that. But I would have rather have had that part answered in the first one. But I see why he held off on it, because he used it as a hook to get us to kind of want to find out why, because it's the very first thing he puts on the cover here, as you see. Find out why did Isom quit. So that answer is provided here. Isom is met with a bunch of new baddies here. Some cool looking fire guys. Again, I'm not going to go into deep detail about what those dudes look like, but again, we get introduced to some new characters called Gooding. If you guys get this book, Gooding is my favorite new character in this book. He is dope. Uh, he's all business, but at the same time, he's something else, man. I I don't know why, but Gooding really spoke to me as a character that I thought was really neat, because though he is a hero, and though he is a hero, he does go about it a different way that I think is pretty funny and original. But it is all well intentioned, but it's more of it's a realistic take on doing superhero work or doing hero work. And that small thing was like, you know what? Okay, you know, I got it. I got it. So it was neat. So Gooding is my favorite guy. When you guys read it, you guys will find out what I'm talking about. Hopefully you'll understand that. As we go further in, we again see a small glimpse of Yaira. Yaira is that mysterious new character that's constantly talked about in the Rippaverse, but has only been seen in pieces. Um, we get an introduction to some other characters here as well. Um, the Alpha Core are seen here again in this issue, just like they were in the #1 issue. So we see Alpha Core, and we get a little bit of extended time with them to see how they operate and what their purpose and what their mission is in regards to Isom, how they're dealing with crime, and all of that, which I liked and appreciated. And then finally, we come to Isom has a situation where he has to get some answers about the fire guys that he encountered, and that leads him to someone called Sydney Bloodroot. Now, Sydney Bloodroot is quite both amazing and unique. Never, I'm not going to say I've never seen a character like her before. We have seen similar characters to her before, but Eric creates a very interesting take on this type of character that I like and I enjoy very much. She is not directly tied to, she's more of a mystic character, but she's not directly deals in 100% mystical stuff, but she's like more fantasy type. She's, to me, she's more like a throwback from a medieval fantasy character that was brought into present day. Again, when you read this book, you'll understand exactly what I'm talking about. You'll see why I garnered these comparisons and everything like that. But we see Isom in this issue getting to work. We're seeing how powerful Isom really is, and that is really cool. There's a lot more action in this story, in this second issue than there was in the first one. You had some in the first one, but again, it was more of an introductory type thing. But this issue, Eric is really making sure that he's getting into what is going on with that. What Isom is still a bit of a mystery, and I'm going to say, unfortunately, again, there's a lot of, this is a very thick uh, book, um, and I guess that's just me thinking with the old school mind of, you know, each issue of a book that you have, each thing needs to progress the story, and we need to learn about the characters a little bit more. I still say there's still a lot of mystery about Isom, unfortunately, that I don't like. I think we should still be finding out more about Isom, because the book is focused on him, and uh, we should be. I think that momentum should start getting moving as to who Isom is and what he's doing. We're so far into the action right now, and we're so far into the story that I feel that at this point, I mean, I still want to find out. But again, comparing it to the average reader that might be reading Isom for the first time or is into this, if someone is reading Isom and didn't care for the first one at all, but decided to give it a shot because they wanted to see it, that the fact that we still don't know a lot about Isom, if they continue reading it, they're no longer going to care where he comes from. We're just going to automatically make the assumption, okay, he's either a mutant or an alien. We'll just leave that to suspended disbelief and just keep going. So that by the time we do figure out who and what he is, it'll just be like, whatever. So like, it doesn't matter. Because there's so much that has happened and so many other characters that are introduced that are much more interesting and whose origins have already been more fleshed out and been straightforwardly revealed, that I don't think it'll matter so much. And I don't think I will say, I don't think Isom is such a hugely iconic type of character to merit this kind of mystery. I think the biggest mystery, was why he stopped doing what he was doing the first time. And that being answered kind of was awesome. I think if it was just said, okay, Isom is this type of character, and that's what it is. Now let's continue on telling a story. That's cool. But the hanging hook on the mystery of who or what Isom is kind of this far in now. It's kind of like, because this year kind of represents about, I want to say 4-5 issues of a comic book series or story arc. So the ill-advised arc is very long. So right now, technically, you're about, if you do it to traditional comic standards, you're about 8 to 10 issues in, and we still don't know what he is. I think that's kind of a negative mark for me as far as writing is concerned, and what that is. Again, when you are introducing a character, it's my personal belief that as much information about the character should be established to the point where we care about him immediately to get invested in the character. And I think Isom runs the danger of so much mystery is surrounding him and not enough is being revealed about him to where the surrounding characters around him that are introduced, I think Isom runs the danger of really becoming a background character in the long run. I know Isom is his flagship character. I know that that's the dude he wants to put out front. But I found that there are characters for me, again, always saying for me, there are characters in here that are way more cooler and way more interesting than Isom. And at this point, than Yaira as well. Yaira, in my opinion, again, as much as she's been touted, the fact that we don't see more of her now on a personal level, it's like, I don't know if I care enough about Yaira to be interested in her by the time she comes out. Yes, comic book guy, I'm probably going to go ahead and look at it and find out about it. Cool. But in general, the average reader, they're probably not going to care because there's nothing there for them to care about. And Isom is, again, we're too far into a story to now care about that. I feel that Isom will run the danger of becoming a background character, even though he's supposed to be the flagship, because of the way his story was executed. I see Alpha Core being huge. I see Gooding being somebody that people will like, and this Sydney Bloodroot chick, she'll really be liked. And I see her resonating a lot with the female fan base. I mean, guys too, because I think she's dope. But I think the female fan base is really gonna dig Sydney Bloodroot. I know Yaira was probably primed to be that one. But again, because she hasn't made an appearance, a fully fleshed out appearance to care, I think that by the time she does come out, it's gonna be like, she's not anything. So that's my negative take on issue number 2. But all in all, this story was extremely fun to read. I read this like 3 times. It's a very fun story. It's a very fun read. Things are definitely moving along in the story, and he's introducing the Rippaverse as a whole. Like I said, Gooding and the Alpha Core are probably my 2 biggest characters that I'm interested in. I don't know where he plans on going with some of these characters. I'm feeling like Gooding is probably not going to get his own series, but is going to be more of a major support character that assists people throughout the Rippaverse. Probably seeing, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a lot of him in Alpha Core, and we see some of him in Yaira when her book finally comes out, and of course more of him in Isom. But I don't feel that he's yet big enough to earn his own book. But if he does, your boy's reading it, because I like Gooding. I think he's really dope. Sydney Bloodroot, though, I feel like Sydney Bloodroot is more of an interesting character than Yaira will be. And I know Eric has a plan, but I honestly would be more interested in the Sydney Bloodroot book at this point than a Yaira book. And the reason why is because Yaira, we ain't seen her yet. And at this point, it's like, okay, Yaira, okay, yay. Sydney Bloodroot, we've seen her power set, we've seen the ability she has. Being a D&D head, I connect more with Sydney Bloodroot than I really connect with that type of character because she's more what I'm into. So, she's fire to me. But I might be wrong. I know there might be some of you out there that might think otherwise. But I will say this book is a vast improvement over the first issue, story-wise. Eric is really taking the time to introduce the Rippaverse to us and what is entailed in it, who the characters are. I think again that's lacking with Isom, and I fear that Isom is going to become a background character once all the other characters are introduced and brought out. I think Isom might end up suffering a bit, unless something can come out of creating a story that is amazing, or the reveal of who he is something crazy and awesome. Um, I fear that he will become a background character, and the other characters that he intend to be supplemental or part of the Rippaverse are going to take the forefront more than anybody else. Like if I was every time I read comic books, I think of them in a movie standpoint. Like if something was to go forward and become a film, I see the Alpha Core in Sydney Bloodroot movie like happening. Like those characters are dope. Those characters are cool. Like we know enough about the Alpha Core and we kind of have an idea of who they are, and it makes me care about more about what they're doing and stuff. So when the Alpha Core comes out, I'm here for it. I cannot wait for Alpha Core. That's gonna be great, and that's a book that's gonna be done by Chuck Dixon and Joe Bennett. So you know, and Naira is coming out through Jen Sosha, Sylvia Sosha, her sisters, I believe, they're writers, and then Deborah Carita. Um, so yeah, those two, I believe, those are the next two books that are coming soon out of the Rippaverse. Alpha Core is going to do incredible. I already know. I'm calling it. Alpha Core is going to be great because I'm gonna be up and down. This is fire. Anyway, I don't want to keep rambling. I don't want to start repeating myself because I have a bad habit of doing that. But go to rippaverse.com, pick up your copies, Isoms 1 and 2. Okay, pick them both up, go on and get them. And no, the second issue, fire. Very satisfied, very enjoyable, and I can't wait to I can't wait to see more. I can't wait to see more and to see. I'm invested because I want to see where the story is going to progress and what's going to happen with Isom and all of that. I can't wait to start picking out my favorite characters out of the Rippaverse. It's going to be neat. Hopefully, it'll get to a point we have we have those discussions in comic shops. Are you Marvel head? Are you DC head? Are you a Rippaverse head? And be like, I'm a Rippaverse dude, and I like Alpha Core. Alpha Core is sick. I like Sydney Blip. I like whoever else. You know, I'm having a feeling I'm real big Alpha. We'll just see though. But it's going to be neat to do that. Eric is doing a very good job of revealing that universe to us, and I think you guys will appreciate that too. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it today. If you guys like what you heard today, please make sure you hit that follow or subscribe button, hit the bell notifications, and to get more hot takes and more independent books that I have. As a quick announcement, I'm going to be doing a segment. It's going to be still here on my main YouTube page, but I will have a playlist section called the Chill and Sketch Podcast, where on there you can just go down the playlist and check out reviews of independent comic books that I'm doing. So it's going to move from hot takes to will be hot takes, but it's still through the Chill and Sketch type podcast, and it'll be a visual podcast. So you can always look at those on there. And then these will also go on to a physical platform too that I'm going to have on Spotify as well. That will be called the Chill and Sketch Podcast as well. So you can listen to it as well as watch it here on my YouTube channel. So if there are certain things that you're interested in, you guys can go through the playlist and get that. And of course, if you're subscribed, you'll get notifications that the new episode is up. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's review. Again, go ahead and pick up that Isom 1 and 2. Pick them up. That campaign is still going, so you can go ahead and still pledge over there and get your hands on these copies, and it is very enjoyable. So again, this is Ian D. Walker. Again, don't forget my website, theartofendwalker.com. You can go ahead and pick up your copy of Pantheon #1, this bad boy right here, as well as pretty soon in about the next week or so, be able to pre-order Pantheon #2, which is going to be coming out really soon as well. And also, too, don't forget to subscribe to my Patreon as well, where you'll get early access to these videos and so much more over on my channel, patreon.com/idwalkerart. So anyways, that being said, talk with you guys later. You have a good one. Take care of yourselves and each other. Deuces.